So here's how it all started. I was just your average space cadet working on the Sputnik 7, a small research vessel orbiting Mars. We were days into our mission when something strange began to happen. The first sign of trouble came with the navigation system. It kept glitching out, like right when we needed it most. I mean, imagine trying to calculate the trajectory for a sample return and then having your computer act like it's playing Pac-Man instead. We were supposed to be collecting soil samples from the Valles Marineris, but every time I tried to run the mission-critical code, my screen turned into a psychedelic display of cosmic rays and error messages. At first, we thought it was just a software glitch, but then came the other strange things. The temperature on deck started dropping unexplainably. It felt like someone had dropped an ice cube in the engine room. I checked all the coolant systems. Nothing was wrong. The readings were erratic and weird. And then there were the visions. Yes, you heard that right. Visions. They began as small blips on the sensor logs, just little flashes of light in my peripheral vision. But soon enough, they became these vivid images. I saw things that shouldn't have been there. A ghostly figure standing at the edge of a cliff, staring out into space with an unsettling smile. And then it got worse. The visions started intruding on my sleep. It was like someone was peeking in on me while I dreamed. These were not just random images. They were coherent thoughts, almost as if someone was trying to communicate, but through my subconscious. I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't alone up here. We had a tech expert on board who thought he could figure out what was going on. He's a genius in his field, and he started running diagnostics non-stop. But no matter how many tests he ran, nothing made sense. His console lights flickered like a dying firefly. Then came the night when we decided to venture into the unknown. We'd heard there were old alien probes scattered across Mars, remnants of some ancient civilization that had long since vanished. Our mission was supposed to be purely scientific, but now I couldn't help but wonder if those probes held the key to what was happening. So we hatched a plan. We would go into the unexplored regions, deep into the Valles Marineris, and see if we could find anything interesting. It was like an adventure straight out of a science fiction novel, but with real stakes. We loaded up our suits, grabbed our tools, and set off. The landscape outside was breathtaking. Cracks as wide as canyons stretching across the terrain, dust devils dancing in the fading light. But something about it felt wrong. It was like the planet itself was watching us, waiting. We reached one of the old probe sites. I remember feeling a mix of excitement and dread as we approached the ancient machine. The probe was buried deep, encased in metallic armor that had withstood centuries of Martian wind and dust. We managed to pry it open, and inside lay an array of strange symbols and what looked like data arrays. I thought about scanning them, but something stopped me. The air around us felt charged, as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath. It was like we were trespassers in a sacred space, and that's when it happened. The first of many visions. This time, it wasn't just flashes, it was a full-on hallucination. I saw myself standing there, but something else was beside me. Something terrifyingly familiar, yet utterly alien. Its eyes glowed an unnatural blue, and its smile twisted into a grotesque grin. It whispered things to me that chilled my bones. After that encounter, we decided to call it quits. The visions had become too vivid, the equipment was failing, and there were whispers of something coming for us from beyond the shadows. We packed up everything, prepared to head back to base. But just as we were about to leave, I noticed something odd on the radar. A blip that shouldn't have been there. It started moving, getting closer by the second. My heart pounded in my chest. Was it another probe? Or worse? We didn't know what to do. The ship was already compromised, and we couldn't trust our instruments anymore. But we had a plan. We would use the only weapon left, the data arrays from the alien probe. I held them up, my hands trembling as I aimed for the approaching entity. The device hummed with power as I activated it. sending out a burst of energy that seemed to cut through whatever was coming at us. For a moment, there was silence. Then came the shock wave. When the dust settled, we were alone again in the vast expanse of space. The ship's systems began to stabilize, and I could breathe easier for the first time since this nightmare started. But as we made our way back, something nagged at me. Something about those visions. They felt like more than just hallucinations. As we approached the base, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a piece of this puzzle missing. The truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered. And who knew what other mysteries lay hidden in the shadows of space? But for now, back on familiar ground, I just wanted to put all of this behind me. Because even though we returned safely, that mission left a mark on us. Something we couldn't quite explain or shake off. It was a reminder that beyond our reach, there are forces at play that we can barely comprehend. And maybe one day, I'll find the courage to explore those shadows again. That's my story, the strange, terrifying adventure that shaped me and left an indelible mark on my soul. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't found in books or data. They're right there, staring us in the face, waiting for us to uncover them. Until next time, folks, good night.